This is PC747 with the Next Up YouTube. So today we're not talking tech. We got to talk DC Fandom. So for those of you who, I'm pretty sure everybody know what DC Fandom is now. You know, you heard about it. It's popped up on everybody's YouTube probably this morning. Everybody's news feed. You know what it is. Basically, they could not have a Comic-Con this year, so a bunch of the companies decided to do their own thing. DC decided to do what they call the DC Fandom. So yesterday, it was pretty much an 8-hour event that took place on their website where they showcased some movies, TV shows. They had some panels come on and talk about their different parts and roles and upcoming events. We had a lot of stuff dealing with video games. They talked about the multiverse and, you know, and from there. And so today I'm going to talk about the 3 things that stood out for me at the DC Fandom. And by the way, before I get started, I got to say this. As far as how the DC Fandom thing is, if I had to give it a grade, I got to say overall, I'll give it a B minus overall, because yes, I understand they had the fan experience. I like the idea that you as a fan can go in and just see a lot of the upcoming movies and TV shows and all the things that excite people about DC and so on. But it was an 8-hour show. It was a very long event, and I understand they wanted to keep people glued into there and be a part of every show. But I just hope if they continue this, because I actually think this thing has something that works, and I think it can continue on and be like, let's say lightning in a bottle, but something that could really spark something going forward for the WB and their whole brand. But it'd be nice if they kind of planned it out better, because what I was thinking it was like when they did the Fandom, I thought you'd be able to go to their website and you can choose which panel you want to sit on in and which one you want to be involved in. And maybe if they could do that, actually turn it into more of a virtual Comic-Con, if I can say, where you can choose which panels you want to be on or be in and see. And again, I understand why they probably did it this way. They probably wanted people to be glued in to give, you know, each panelist their fair share of interest, you know, because there may be some things that people are excited about here and there. Plus, also, you know, I understand that, you know, like for the Batman, which is something we're going to talk about. But, you know, the fact that they would drop that off, they want to kind of save that nugget to keep people glued on to see when that's going to show up. So I get it, you know. But I think a way they could do that is more say, okay, look, you know, we may have something special showing at this time block or this time block or whatever said, you know, people can tune in to a certain time block, especially, again, 8 hours on a Saturday. You know, if you got something to do and it wasn't, you know, outside of Corona, you know, right now, obviously a lot more people are stuck in the house because of the COVID-19 and people are doing social distancing and chilling out the house. But, you know, in the upcoming years when COVID-19 is no longer a thing, you know, for someone to sit on a Saturday for 8 hours to wait for an event, it's not going to happen. You know, it's like, you know what, I get to when I get to it. So if they really want to capitalize on this event, a good way to do that would be to, you know, put a certain time period where a certain event will be ongoing, and then people that want to tune in can tune into that event. Overall, like I said, yes, I give it a B. You know, I liked a lot of the stuff they showed, and I'm going to actually start talking about the top 3 right now. So the first thing that I really, really enjoyed is the idea of the multiverse. Now, the reason why I like that, because it really gives them freedom to really make the movies they want to make and not being glued to the cinematic universe. I think one of the things that really hammered DC over the past year was they were so busy trying to be like Marvel and to play catch up to their cinematic universe. And yes, the cinematic universe that Marvel put together was amazing and it worked for them. And they've been working on it for 10 years. They had a plan. And you had pretty much Warner Brothers with DC trying to come up there and play catch up. And as a result of that, it felt rushed. You didn't give the creative team, the producers and the developers and all the people involved in these movies a chance to create their true vision. You know, the writers and the producers, just everyone an opportunity to say, this is the vision we really want to put together, as well as the directors. It was like basically, it was a big rush to make something happen. And it showed. For me personally, I did like Batman v Superman, but I know it had problems. Same thing with Justice League. And the problem was because it was so busy being rushed to be something like a catch up to Marvel. And I think by opening it up to being, quote, a multiverse, it gives freedom. Because like some of the recent movies, you can see that when it wasn't so much tied into another universe where it was allowed to kind of breathe and be on its own, it became special. Shazam, for a good point. You could tell it really wasn't a part of any particular universe. It was allowed to pretty much be its own story. Another good example of that is Joker. You know, that's one of the movies that really got a lot of praise because, again, people allowed it to be that its own story, to tell its own story of what the Joker could be and not be tied so much into Batman. Obviously, it had Gotham City in there. It had some hints here or there of the Wayne family and, you know, obviously Bruce Wayne, but not so much to the point where it was, quote, Batman there, which meant it allowed it to be a story without Batman. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of what some of these producers and writers can do now that they're not tied into a particular universe. So the second thing that I liked was I enjoyed seeing kind of this Zack Snyder, trailer to kind of see what that turned out to be. Because I'm actually looking forward to seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, again, I can understand people saying, yo, I mean, all Zack Snyder doing is just, darkening it up and telling a story that's very similar to Batman v Superman, where, just all dark and, this is the same guy where the ending was Batman stopped fighting Superman over Martha, I get that. But, I wanted to kind of see how his vision turned out. I like what they were kind of seeing in the trailer, Dark Side, and seeing what they're kind of doing with that. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I think it can really open up to so much, especially now that they're giving him the opportunity just to do it on HBO Max. Now, would this have been something that would be good for the theaters? No, because no one is going to want to spend 4 hours in a theater, period. And a lot of Zack Snyder's vision have been a movie that was just too long for theaters. Theaters trying to get people in and get them out. They're trying to make their money. Get as many people in, show a story, get them out, and bring the next group in. And Zack Snyder's movie does not really appeal to that whole narrative. But when you are able to put it on something like an HBO Max, where people would tune in for that works. And it will definitely be something that will almost mirror, if not compete, what Netflix been doing for years. With their movie verses, whether it been with the Marvel verses or all the other movies that they put out there. So I'm definitely kind of looking forward to seeing how that turns out. And I think it could open up to a number of other stories that can be shown there and brought to HBO Max. Stories and movies that may not quite be worthy to go in the theaters, but people wouldn't mind checking out on something like a streaming service. And can you imagine some of the stories that they could really open up to if they was to be allowed to do that? I mean, especially when you look at how broad the quote DC universe really is. All the characters, whether it be Static, Young Justice, you got obviously Justice League, and some of the B characters that may not get so much of the hype as the top tier, like your Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and all of them. Those characters that obviously going to have a lot more of range on and want to make sure it stick to a particular storyline. But your B characters, they can really open that up to a lot of kind of, imagination, and open it up to kind of tell so many different stories and really open it up just to another universe and kind of open up to fans in a way to really explore how far these stories can go. And they don't all have to be like, quote, hero related. And I want to say some of the things I've been seeing lately that is kind of have excited me with the quote hero genre is the fact that they are branching out from it, and it's not just so much the same old genre where it just, you know, comic lore, but open it up to something like making a horror element or turn it into like a spy thriller or stuff like that. So really open it up to where you can tell almost any story you can if you want, and that story just happen to use the characters' names of some of the characters that we come to know from the particular comics. Especially if you use some of the, you talk about B characters, but if you go further down to something like the C or D characters where, you know, only a small amount of people know who these guys are. And you open that up into really tell some stories that can like really do some amazing things as far as with the universe. And not really so much the universe, but with people in general as far as open up their imaginations. But that's my thoughts on that one. And before I get to my number one, I definitely got to throw a honorable mention here, because this one really have to be put in this list, and that is Black Adam. I'm definitely feeling what The Rock is doing with the Black Adam, and I'm excited to see it. I know the kind of little teasers they shown there. You know, obviously it wasn't really much of a movie there. They shown like just a little art piece, kind of showing what they're looking to do with that. But man, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Black Adam's could be in this universe. I like the story that they're looking to tell. Someone who is like, you know, he's not quite a hero, he's not quite a villain. You know, he more like an anti-hero type guy. What if you have someone who have like the powers of a Superman, but, you know, have no restraint and just straight up just angry and just definitely want to see what he can do with that story and go from there. But obviously, my number one thing that was shown off at the Fandom yesterday, as you can guess it, the Batman. I enjoy the Batman trailer. For one, I am a big Batman fan, and I didn't know what to expect from Matt Reeves' Batman, but I was hoping it would become, you know, something better. Because, yeah, as much as I kind of liked what Zack Snyder did with Batman and with Ben Affleck's Batman, I like the look of it. I like that it was more of a gritty, more of a grimy, a bigger Batman. I felt like it missed out on so many elements that made Batman Batman. And plus, I wanted to see another story, a different story element. And it looks like we're going to get that with this Batman, this version of Batman. A Batman that is not so much an origin story, but a Batman who's still young, who's still learning, who is in the second year and having to still learn what it means to be a Batman. And, you know, in this universe, it looks grimy. It looks like it's that type of dark universe, definitely grounded. And I'm loving the whole story that we should see here, more of a where you have to see Batman use his detective skills. And yeah, this whole trailer just had me excited for this movie. And I'm like, after seeing this trailer and seeing just kind of, you know, just the look of this Batman, I'm excited. I'm really excited for 2021, and definitely that is going to be at the top of the list of my must-see movies. But guys, I want to know what your thoughts on Fandom is. What did you like about it? What didn't you like? You know, are there some movies you definitely going to check out? What are your thoughts on the games that were released? Are you looking forward to the Suicide Squad versus Justice League? How you feeling about Gotham Knights? This is PC747. I'm out.